these kind of relationships. Get together with this other person that handles sub awards and figure out what are the best practices handling sub awards. So we created this kind of discussions for the last, I would say, 6 months, and constant follow-up, constant reminders, please get together, please find documentation. And there has been some obstacles, but there has been a lot of work coming through this. One of the main obstacles that I found was that in Latin America we have cultural barriers in which people are not used to talking to one another in a very formal way the way we do in the US. We have very hierarchical structure in which people will always report to their managers, and then the manager will trickle down. So we're trying to break this down, and we're trying to avoid having people direct all conversations through us and then us to the rest of people, so they can talk to each other individually. Now, we started using Illuminate versus Skype because we have a huge group. I don't know if you ever tried this, but once you start joining like more than 3 or 4 people into Skype, it just becomes a really crowded room. So the advantage of Skype is that each person gets their own turn to talk, so they just pass down the microphone. They need a moderator, so I was the moderator, and I passed down the microphone to each person. They had allotted time, so we stuck to time limits. And it also simulated that kind of interaction that they're used to, where one person takes a turn and there's another person controlling the whole flow of information. So far we had a good experience. The next step is to get them to identify and to know that this one person is very good for this kind of practice. So we're going to have a finance training in person. This is coming this month. And we're going to assign one of our people, the person in Nicaragua. This person, we're going to tell them to train the rest of the person in this area. So the training will not be coming from PSI Washington or PASMO. It will be coming from a local person in one of the platform offices. So this will start reinforcing the behavior that if you have a question, don't come directly to others. You have a network of professionals that are willing to answer your question.
Thank you so much. Just to add to that, what's going on with the PR working group? Lena shared with you a little bit what's going on with admin and finance. PR for us, even though we've been doing it for a while, it's a relatively new sort of subject for Central America. We developed a strategy late last year to be implemented during 2010, and each country's developed their PR plan aligned with the strategy. We identified PR leads in each country. It just so happens that for us, even though we want to sort of alleviate some of the pressure on country managers and country reps, it just so happens that PR leads in each country were the country managers. So they participate in this working group. We have people from DC from our communications department, and we have someone from PSI Europe who's also in the group. We've been trying to meet about once a month. We haven't done that always. If we don't convene enough people, we usually postpone until the next month. And a lot of the topics stem directly from the regional PR strategy and what the platforms are saying, this is what I need, or this is what I need to talk about. So the fact that the group responds directly to what each platform is saying, this is what I need to discuss, this is my issue right now, maybe this will help everyone else, let's talk about this. How can I learn from you? What, like Lena was saying, instead of going straight maybe to the regional office or to the communications team in DC, to be able also to talk to their colleagues, which they didn't seem to be doing on a regular basis before, and say, hey, you know, in Honduras, how did you do this? You know, how's this working for you? And then it's what I do with this information afterwards that I think that also makes it work. Communicating what went on in that discussion. I take notes, they're in Spanish, I document who's in that group, what the schedule was or what we were going to talk about, and then what we actually talked about. And aside from maybe, I will send that information back to the group members so that they have notes on their call, and then they can add anything that they thought maybe was missed. So a lot of the group members are not in all the calls, so they want to see the notes and they, hey, what did you guys talk about? So they want to see what happened while they weren't there. I also share these notes with the senior management team, and I've realized that a lot of these notes have generated discussion at a senior management level. So I'll get notes from Judy or from Barry that'll say, you know, I think it's really interesting that this group is talking about this. This is something that maybe we should work on and take in this direction. Or this is something that we should do and move it in another direction. It gets them talking about what people are saying on the ground, which maybe doesn't happen all the time. And then I also copy PSI on those notes. We've got several ways that we could do it. I know that email is outdated, but there's small text files, so I'll just email the notes. We also post them on our H drive, and we have Kicks, and I haven't personally tried with the PR working group to use SocialCast as well, but I think that's something that we can move in that direction because that's a new tool, it's easy to use, and definitely explore that. I don't think any of the working groups in Central America or LAC are using SocialCast yet for their working groups. I know that a lot of people are subscribed, but we're not using that yet, so definitely explore that. So we end up getting decision making on the regional level based on information that's up to date and based on platform needs. And I think that platforms feel